Whenever we started getting down to a 4-to-1 ratio, let alone below that, we were in big trouble and we were on the rocks. So he makes the point that human relationships run on bids. We make bids for others' attention. They ignore us. We very quickly get the message and we stop bidding for their attention and we start just ignoring the person. So a bid for attention may be a look or a smile or a phone call or an email or a formal invite or a poke on Facebook. And if you don't pick up on that bid for attention, you're going to be alone. That person's going to leave you alone. So it's fine to reject the bids of people you don't want in your life, but don't be careless with the bids of those who are important to you. It's better to say no to a bid for your attention than to ignore it. So a lot of details on appropriate dress in this week's Parsha, which is Acharei. I'm looking at Leviticus chapter 16, verse 4. He shall don a sacred linen tunic. Linen breeches shall be upon his flesh. He shall gird himself with a linen sash, cover his head with a linen turban. They are sacred vestments. He shall immerse himself in water and then don them. So there's a lot in the Torah about the importance of immersing yourself in water, getting clean, and then on the type of clothes that you wear. So I really like being around people who dress well. And I don't tend to dress well. I tend to be a bit of a slob. So dressing well does not come naturally to me. You know, I told my therapist that I expected him to consistently dress better than me, and he always dresses well. It's one of the things that I love about him. So that he appears neat and professional is very important to me as a client. I do not want a therapist or an accountant or a lawyer or any professional dresses like a snob. When I become a teacher of Alexander technique, I'll have to start dressing better than I currently do as a student and a blogger. So I dress up for Torah talk because Torah talk is particularly sacred to me, and it's one of the ways that I show respect to the Torah is by dressing up for it and putting on a suit. So when I worked for a newspaper such as the Auburn Journal or a radio station such as K-High, K-Hill Radio in Sacramento, or when I've worked for almost anyone, I've dressed consistently better than I do as a self-employed blogger and online marketer and entrepreneur. So yesterday marked the 7th year of a friend's unemployment, and he has been looking for work over the past 7 years, and he has not found it. And unemployment takes a toll. Like, I've had times in my life where I've been unemployed, and I find it devastating. It's like it's very hard for me to interact normally with the world when this part of my life is missing, because I just lack confidence. I feel like a loser. I want to hide and cry. I don't want to engage with other people. The United States is the only Western country where able-bodied men cannot get the dole, cannot get like a regular payment from the government so they can get by. Is this good or is this bad? I think it's good. I think it encourages people to build strong relationships to their family, to their friends, and to community. Like, I've had to rely on my family to help me get through the training school that I'm currently in. So if there's no dole, if there's no welfare state to support you, it encourages joining religious institutions such as synagogues and churches, joining ethnic and professional clubs and the like. And these institutions in turn look out for their members when they fall on tough times. So Dennis Prager tells a story of a high school math teacher in his childhood who was in a car accident and went blind. So I guess there was no safety net at the time. This is around 1960. There's no disability payments or workman's compensation. So the shul met at Dennis Prager's parents' home, and everyone made a financial commitment so this guy could get by. And the shul community took care of this man for the rest of his life. So if the government takes over this role, then groups such as synagogues will not, and people will take less care with each other. The welfare state saps character, because it enables me to live on my own without forming bonds. Unions, belonging to a union, also tends to destroy character, because employees tend to become militant about their break times and about work rules, rather than focusing on serving the customer and growing the business. Only once do I remember working for a union. It's when I worked for Kmart in 1984, and I had to join the union to work there, and the company automatically deducted my union dues every paycheck. I hated it. Because of course the union lobbied for the Labour Party in Australia, which was a left-wing party, which I didn't want a part of. So Marcus Freed writes on his Facebook that he was on stage in Long Beach introducing this cool Israeli-Ethiopian rapper Kalkadan for the Jewlicious Festival's campus tour. He asked him to freestyle in English, and he dropped about 50 F-bombs in 60 seconds. I don't like profanity in public. I think it's wrong, it's unholy. It kind of removes the sacred from the public space. So unless it's very funny, unless there's like a particular need for it, I don't like F-bombs in public. So there's a Chicago school that bans lunches brought from home. So the overbearing female principal says homemade lunches are not healthy enough. Now, no male principal would do this, I don't think, unless he was an Al Gore type. But women, on the one hand, they can be very nurturing. On the other hand, they can be very smothering. So this is like the smothering female. So according to this news story, Principal Elsa Carmona said her intention is to protect students from their own unhealthful food choices. Here's a quote: "Nutrition-wise, it is better for the children to eat at the school. It's about the nutrition and the excellent quality food they are able to serve in the lunchroom. It's milk versus Coke. But with allergies and any medical issue, of course, we would make an exception." Carmona said she created the policy 6 years ago after watching students bring bottles of soda and flaming hot chips on field trips for their lunch. Although she would not name any other schools that employ such practices, she said it was fairly common. Chicago Public School spokeswoman said she could not say how many schools prohibit packed lunches, and that decision is left to the judgment of the principals. Oy vey. So that wraps up a pretty short edition of Torah Talk this week. The rabbi is not here this week, and I don't believe that we'll be working together anymore. So I'm looking for someone else who's learned in Torah to do Torah Talks with me. And I don't care if you're an atheist, a Reform Jew, Conservative Jew, Reconstructionist Jew, Orthodox Jew, Haredi Jew, Hasidic Jew. Just I need someone who is voluble and knowledgeable about Torah. I'm Luke Ford, your moral leader. Kids, don't do crack cocaine and stay in yeshiva.